All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the Surfliner sprint review and demo. This is the third of 4 sprints for this work cycle. And we're going to go over the work that was done for Comet Sprint 31 and Daylight Sprint 3. Tamsin, would you please jump in and share what was accomplished? You're muted.
Thank you. So I want to show us 3 things mainly. The first is that we have import export round tripping, which is really fantastic and was a large part of our goal for this work cycle. I do think we're going to continue to work a little bit on import export round tripping details and especially performance in the last sprint here. But I'm excited to show you that working in its general form. And then I'm going to show you some really rapid progress that we've had on the Daylight stuff. The work that we're going to show you on Daylight isn't like super visually polished, but the architecture is really exciting, and we're happy to be able to show it off. And then I'm going to show one of the features. We've actually done a number of like small Comet features this sprint, and I may sort of like backload some of those for the final demo of the work cycle so that we get to see them. But I think the main one is just the collection thumbnail stuff, which you may have just seen us playing with if you came in slightly early. So I'm going to start with the import export. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these exporters are this exporter page is a little slow. And I'm curious, actually, Longshoe, if we can figure out why this export page takes so long to load. It seems like it doesn't have a lot of data on it. And it should probably just be pulling from the database. So I'm curious about why this is like, why this is a process that takes so long. But here we are. So I'm going to do a little demo export. I'm going to make it metadata only of a collection, and that collection is going to be the Vern Todd collection. The Vern Todd collection has a funny name right now because I edited it when I prepared this demo. And maybe one of the things that we'll do is with this round trip is fix that. So I'm going to go ahead and export this. And this should just take a second. The actual background work to get this exported also should not take very long. Yes, complete. Perfect. And so now I can download this export 34591.zip. And I'm going to go ahead and can you see the terminal here now too?
Yes.
Perfect. Export 34. I'm just going to move that to exports. And I'll unzip it. And obviously, you can use whatever tools you want to unzip this. Yes, I would love to replace that file. And you can use whatever tools you want to edit the file. I think what I'm going to do is find the various places where I've added O. And maybe we can do things like let's grab guilty of love edited, and like we can find somebody who's an author in this collection. Performing arts. Maybe there are no authors. So I can like arbitrarily edit files. This is not currently exporting relationships, but I can actually also like drop in a parents column and change relationships in this context. And so if you needed to like add half of these items to a second collection, you could do that in here. And if I needed to do things like change the copyright status, I don't actually know what a valid alternative URI would be. So maybe I won't try that in case it actually causes a problem. But like this is a good space to be doing controlled vocabulary changes. You're gonna love yourself in the morning. Let's go ahead and re-import that now. So I'm gonna make demo Vern Todd. I do have to choose a project, but since all these items will already be in a project, I do not have to actually have one. I don't actually like which one I choose doesn't actually matter. And then I'll create and validate, and we can look at those objects. And the usual like import flow is now available, right? Like if I have edits in this that don't pass validation, then I would expect to have this validation fail and be able to like re-upload this CSV in either a new importer or an edited version of this one. So I'm going to give that a second to make its way through. And you can see that because these objects, I think they may have been imported with the arcs as the source ID, which is super handy. This is a way that I would recommend if you have arcs assigned for collections before import, then using those arcs as the source IDs makes this like fairly easy to deal with. And this seems like it's all a valid import, so I'm going to run it. And we should see these come through. It's just 12 objects. Go ahead and refresh this. Yeah, pending. Complete. Okay. So now, let's see. If I head back, you can see the collection's been edited with demo edit. And if we go look at the objects, we should see like edited, you're going to love yourself in the morning. Oh, and I left the Bells of St. Mary O in there. So there you go. You can also change the object visibility. etc. But anything that's exporting in this CSV can be edited. I think the main things that we have to iron out about this towards the end of the sprint are ensuring that that the relationship edits work very smoothly. So like it should be possible for us to export large numbers of items and change their collection membership, both to collections that are referenced in this CSV and to collections that are not. It should be possible to add new items, new objects or collections to this re-import. And I think we haven't tested that, but I imagine it works just fine, actually. And then it should also be possible to move file membership around and change file uses. So we're those kinds of details we're still just like validating and working through. But I think we're going to be in a place where all that stuff works as desired. And then I want to remind us also that that I can in workflow tasks now like grab these by the importer. We did do some work to fix this, these importer drop downs. But like it is now possible for me to link up this import export behavior with the general idea of like I'm gonna move these objects through the workflow. So a common workflow that we envision here would be I import some things, somebody reviews them, runs an export to make corrections, makes those corrections, re-imports, and then comes back here to move them through the cycle. And again, you can either filter these by the project that they're in or by the importer that they've come in on. Cool. So that's import export. Secondly, and in a completely different vein, we've been doing a lot of work on Daylight. The Daylight, I guess I'll start here again. I just want to remind us that the project approach that we're taking to Daylight is to try to build small tools that can be composed into discovery services. It's our view strategically that each campus is ultimately going to want to maintain just its digital collections discovery platform with more responsiveness to the individual campus. And the individual campus stakeholders, then to Surfliner. And so in the way that we've structured the project, we're really trying to build shared tooling for accelerating those processes rather than try to build one digital collections app that we have to like rigidly work through together. I'm gonna go ahead and close, get this out of the way. So this is the Daylight demo that we've been showing you. These are just some like imaginary application components, and the major work that we've done that I can actually show you this sprint is I'm going to start by finding an object with an image. Maybe what I want to do is do that from search. I'm actually just going to do this and see what comes through my thumbnails. Piechart.png sounds interesting. Doesn't seem to actually have a PNG attached to it, though. some of these actual objects? Maybe I should just stick with the one I know. 2962. Okay. So here is a Comet object in the staging application with an image attached. This image is making it to the AAAF server, which we can see because we have a AAAF view here. This is a test object that's specifically intended to test this universal viewer. Somebody uploaded it for that reason. And Comet serves out a manifest that describes the object and contains some of the metadata. And the plan that sort of formulated this sprint with Daylight was to use this AAAF metadata and object structure data to power the Comet view. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And this, like, we haven't done information architecture work on this, so there's no, and as yet there's no discovery endpoint. But what you're going to see here is that browsing to objects and the Comet ID pulls. So there's a couple of things that happen here. One is just that that the host application, the main Daylight application here, knows knows how to find the AAAF manifest for this object, and then it passes that, and you can see that's the manifest URL, and then it passes that to a small front end application that's running the rest of this separately. I'm going to ask you to ignore all the styling, including the fact that the viewer styling doesn't work. With some minor, I think, CSS edits, this is going to become zoom and pan like the one we saw in the other one. There's also, I think, some styling questions here, but you can see I am populating the metadata from the AAAF server. I do know what the actual, from the AAAF manifest. I do know what the actual item title is. And this is basically the strategy that we're floating for Vue right now, is to pull the object metadata from Comet using this using that manifest, and then pull the actual objects from AAAF. So in this case, it's an image, but the viewer that ships with this isolated Vue application will also play images, and it will page through content when there's more than one file set in the object. So it's actually like fairly powerful. If Comet's serving out AAAF manifests in the way that we want, then this viewer should sort of bend to our will very quickly. So that's a thing that we've been working on. We've also been working on the development environment and deployment strategies for these applications still. And I expect we'll continue working on that through to the end of the sprint. And specifically as well, it's our goal to be able to demo at the end of the next sprint, at the end of the work cycle, also some kind of discovery. So like being able to search objects that are published and have those then link through to pages like this one. So yeah, that's neat. I can I guess it might also be fun just quickly to see. I'm wondering if I can quickly daylight backend. If I can quickly show this thing running in isolation. Oh yeah, it should be running on 8081. Okay. Oh, it doesn't have a default object anymore. But anyway, the nice thing structurally about the way that this architecture is shaking out is that if I wanted to ship a different show view for the objects using different technology entirely, I could do that very quickly without changing assumptions about what's happening in the actual main app, right? Like I could just roll out a different front end to surf the show view. So we're excited about that pattern and wanting to show it come together into a whole discovery product by the end of the sprint. Okay, and then the last thing that I want to show is, and does this object have I might just use this one again. Does this object have a collection? It doesn't. I'm going to add it to a collection. Yeah, I'm about to be mean to the Vern Todd collection. So I'm going to add this funny little like demo object to the Vern Todd collection. It's now in there. And if I want the Vern Todd collection to have that image of the dog, then I should be able to grab that image here. Well, Shu, do you expect this to
Something broke.
Worked?
Something broke because it was working just fine.
Okay. We might want to just double check that this is an environment thing with the UCSB stack.
Okay.
Go ahead. Oh, that just logged me out. Another deploy fire off. I'm going to go ahead and find Vern Todd from the discovery. Yeah, okay. So there's definitely something up environment-wise here. You can see that it did try to like update the thumbnail here for the Vern Todd collection. I want that to have been updated to the image that we selected from the object. I can also do this by updating. I'm going to do, yeah, why not? This is just a screenshot of, ooh, that broke very badly, didn't it? Seems like we have some ironing out to do on this one, fam. Yeah. Okay. We're going to come back to you on this one.
It's
we did
definitely
do
your instance because I just did it
yeah.
right now on ours and it
Okay.
works perfectly well.
Well, do you want to show that, or do you want to not worry about it?
Well, I can just show you that I just did it, and what we expect it to look like is this. So I just replaced it. So if I go to the UI here, you see that this is what we're expecting to see. Representative images for the collections.
Cool. So we're going to make sure that that works cross environment, and then that feature should be wrapped. The idea there is just that it's important to be able to select what the uh, public sees as the sort of like thumbnail and splash image for the collection. You can think of it as collection branding, um, and uh, and the tooling that we've put in here gives you the option to either grab the image from something in the collection that you feel is representative, or like create something out of band that that represents the collection in various contexts. So that's what we did this sprint. We have most of a sprint to go, and in fact, like, so I think this demo is slightly offset from the sprint cycle because we wrapped the last sprint last Tuesday, or sorry, we wrapped the previous sprint last Tuesday, and the final sprint for the work cycle started then Wednesday, but is running 3 weeks. So we have a whole like 2 week cycle remaining, and I'm pretty hopeful about having something up that looks like I can upload an object to Comet, publish it to Daylight from Comet, do a search, and view it. Probably not with super polished UIs on the Daylight end, but at least something that allows you to put a search text in a box and see some results and facet them and click on through. That's what we're hoping to be achieving with the rest of our time. And I think that's it. Do we have any questions before we stop the recording?
It looks like we don't, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.